Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I am Dr. Rabia Yaqub, the course instructor of Applied Ecology. Today, our topic of discussion is water cycle or the hydrologic cycle. Water cycle is the most important among all the biogeochemical cycles because the availability of water is linked with almost all other nutrient cycles which are happening on the surface of Earth. The availability of water is crucial for the progression of these nutrient cycles. On the other hand, water is also an essential component of living organism, and in the absence of water, life could not exist on this planet Earth. As in my previous lecture, I have discussed that the mass of elements which are the part of living biomass, it remains same all the time. According to law of conservation of matter, no new matter can be generated nor it can be destroyed. So the elements like carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen, oxygen, which are the part of living biomass, they must have been used over and over again. The atom of each element is taken up from the environment. They are incorporated into the living biomass of different organisms, and by various ways they are returned to the environment to be used over again by the other living organisms. The cyclic movement of these chemical elements of the biosphere between the organism and the environment, it is referred to as to the biogeochemical cycle. There are two main phases of biogeochemical cycles, organic phase and abiotic phase. Organic phase can be traced as the movement of elements through the biotic communities or living organisms via food chains, and the abiotic phase is the movement of elements external to the food chain, or we can say it is the movement of elements into the non-living component of our environment. Flow of abiotic phase is much slower than the flow of elements into the organic phases. If we talk about the hydrologic cycle, we can observe that the living organisms, atmosphere, and earth maintain between them a circulation of water and moisture, which is referred to as water cycle or hydrologic cycle. Without the cycling of water, biogeochemical cycle could not exist, ecosystem could not function, and life could not be maintained. Water is important for an ecosystem for several ways. Water, it is the medium by which nutrients are introduced into the autotrophic plants. It is an important part of living tissue, either as liquid water or as part of essential organic molecule. It also serves as a mean of thermal regulation for both plants and animal. It is the medium by which sediments, a prime source of mineral nutrients, are removed from or added to a local ecosystem. It covers the great majority of Earth's surface and is the dominant feature of all the aquatic ecosystem. There are two main driving forces for the hydrologic cycle. One is solar energy and other is gravity. More than 80% of the total insulation that is received by Earth is not lost immediately as the electromagnetic radiation. Rather, it goes to evaporate the water. The atmospheric water vapor produced by this means can then be condensed around the particles of dust which are present in the atmosphere. These particles around them condensation happens, they are called as nucleation particles. The atmosphere possesses a limited capacity for holding water vapor, so these droplets formed by this mean are heavy enough to fall as the precipitation or as the rain droplets under the influence of gravity. Eventually, the hydrologic cycle can be defined as an alteration of evaporation and precipitation, with the energy used to evaporate the water being dissipated as the heat in the atmosphere as the water condenses. If we talk about the distribution of water on the surface of Earth, we can see that water is not evenly distributed throughout the surface of Earth. Almost 95% of the total water on the earth is chemically bounded into the rocks and does not available for recycling. Of the remainder, about 97.3% is in ocean as salt water. About 2.1% exists as the ice in the polar caps and the permanent glaciers, and the rest is fresh water present in the form of atmospheric water vapor, groundwater, soil water, or inland surface water in the form of ponds, lakes, or other water bodies. The rate of cycling of water between the surface and the atmosphere is very rapid. The amount of water vapors in the atmosphere is sufficient, on average, to cover the entire Earth's surface on a depth of 2.25 centimeter. But the average annual rainfall for the Earth is about 81.1 centimeter, and in some places it ranges up to 1200 centimeter. This means that the average turnover time for the atmospheric water is about 11.4 days. Or we can say that is equal to that all the water vapors in the entire atmosphere falls as precipitation and is re-evaporated more than 32 times per year. Further, the distribution of evaporation and rainfall is quite uneven over the surface of Earth. If we compare the annual evaporation and precipitation over land and sea, we find that relatively more water precipitated on land than evaporates from the land. The hydrologic cycle over the surface of ocean is extremely simple. The water is evaporated from the surface of the ocean. Then water vapors forms the clouds, which when they are cooled down, they precipitate the water in the form of rainfall. After that, there are several routes which are open to the precipitation that falls on the land, like direct evaporation, transpiration, entry of water into groundwater system, and runoff. Consequently, the routes of hydrologic cycle on the land can be divided into following three main categories. Number one, the rapidly cycling portion or the evapotranspiration, which includes the evaporation and transpiration of water. Second, the less rapidly cycling water or the surface runoff. And third one is very slowly cycling of groundwater that seeps into the soil. So the precipitated water, it can end up in any one of these three categories. Let's we discuss these three main routes one by one. First of all, we will discuss about the evapotranspiration. Evapotranspiration is the combination of two phenomena, evaporation and transpiration. Evaporation refers to water that is evaporated directly from the surface other than a plant, such as lake, soil surface, or animal skin. In most cases, the main effect of direct evaporation are to moderate the temperature of local area and to allow the hydrologic cycle to continue. In some ecosystem, evaporation also leads to a concentration of salts in the water of soil, which may be a critical environmental factor. Transpiration of water that evaporates from the surface of leaves of plants. Transpiration acts to the move the biogeochemical cycle for all mineral nutrients that enter the food chain via the roots of plants. Surface runoff is that part of water cycle which flows on the surface of earth. If the transpiration is related to the mechanism of nutrient uptake, the gross movement of soluble and solid particles in the ecosystem is accomplished largely by runoff. Nutrients that have accumulated in sediments or soil can be eroded by streams and removed altogether from the local ecosystem. or soluble nutrients may be carried by soil seepage into the surface water, where they are removed from the area. Streams may carry sediment particles which can be chemically altered through additional weathering so that the nutrient elements they contain may be utilized by the organism. Finally, moving water act as an agent of erosion which removes soils and allow weathering of the underlying rocks to make their nutrients available to the plants and other organisms. The part of precipitation which seeps down and accumulate under the surface of soil is known as groundwater. Groundwater is water that saturates either sediments or rock below the water table. Generally, it is not trapped by the plants for transpiration and it is too deep to be directly evaporated from the soil surface. It is of an exceedingly important reservoir for water which moves from one place to another place under the influence of gravity. The area where the net movement is from the surface into the groundwater system is termed as catchment area, and the area where the groundwater reaches the surface and runs off are termed as springs. The rock by which groundwater flows is called an aquifer. So, if we briefly look into the hydrologic cycle on the land, we can see that includes evapotranspiration of water from the earth's surface, from the surface of ocean, and from the leaf surface. That evapotranspirated water is involved in the formation of clouds, and when these clouds are saturated enough that they cannot hold the water vapors, they are turned into precipitation. The precipitated water which reaches the earth's surface may be converted into the surface runoff, or it may be accumulated as the groundwater. In this way, the water is returned to the sea via streams or rivers, or it is directly evaporated and involved in the cloud formation again. In this way, the water cycles keeps on moving repeatedly in a cyclic way. This figure very comprehensively describes the hydrologic cycle. In this figure, you can see that the reservoirs of water are represented in the yellow colored boxes. Gray colored boxes shows the processes through which water is converted from one phase to another phase. And the red color boxes represents those processes which are affected by human beings. The arrows, which are blue in color, they shows the natural pathways through which water travels from one phase to another phase, and the red colored arrows shows the those pathways which are affected by human activities. Here you can see that the main reservoirs of water are ocean, ice and snow caps, lakes and other freshwater bodies, and the groundwater. From the ocean or the land surface, water is transported into the atmosphere by the process of evaporation or transpiration. Where in the atmosphere the evaporated water is converted into the clouds, and from clouds, due to the process of condensation, that evaporated water is converted into the precipitation. That precipitation which falls on the surface of land, or it may falls on the surface of ocean. The precipitation which falls on the surface of land by the process of runoff, it is accumulated into the lakes or streams, or by the process of infiltration or percolation it is accumulated into the groundwater. From the lakes or rivers or streams, water is transported to the ocean, as well as from the groundwater, sufficient amount of water is also transported into the ocean. Human activities has altered the hydrologic cycle by many ways. For example, the impact of human activities is global warming, and due to global warming, the ice caps are melting, which is contributing more and more water than normal into the on surface reservoir of water. On the other hand, destruction of wetlands, it increased the flooding. Human beings are also withdrawing more and more groundwater from the aquifers, which is depleting the underground reservoir of water. We, as a human being, has altered the water cycle by withdrawal of large quantities of fresh water from the streams, lakes, and underground sources, sometimes at rates faster than the nature can replace it. We are clearing the vegetation from the land for agriculture, mining, and road building and other purposes. This increases the runoff. It reduces the infiltration that would normally recharge the groundwater supplies. It also accelerated the soil erosion and landslides. It also alters the weather pattern by reducing transpiration, and it raises the ground temperature as well. We also drain wetlands for farming and other purposes that results into the increased flooding. That's all about the hydrologic cycle. I have referred few books from which you can consult for to get a better insight about this topic or the related topics. Thank you.